On this edition of Emerils, Florida, we're going to visit some of our favorite waterfront restaurants in the state. Our first stop is Tampa, and the restaurant is Ulele, named after a Native American princess. Lots to see here. It's a cool location, and the owner says the restaurant was inspired by the Indian tribes who first lived in Florida.
So it was my mission to come out here and pay homage to the Native Americans that once called this area home.
Today we'll begin in the city of Tampa, located on the central west coast of Florida. And we're heading to a new waterfront restaurant on the Hillsborough River near downtown Tampa. Its name is Ulele, and it's owned by one of the most successful and respected families in the restaurant business here in Florida.
Hey, Emeril, welcome to Ulele.
Oh, I'm so delighted to be here.
Richard Gonzmart is the owner of Ulele, and he and his family have been in the restaurant business a long time. They also own and operate the Columbia restaurant in nearby Ybor City. It's been open since 1905, and it's a landmark here. Ulele opened in August of 2014. It's located in what used to be the Tampa Waterworks building, which provided water to the residents of the city in the early 1900s. The location was an important part of the decision for the Gonzmart family to create Ulele.
I was born 3 blocks away from here, right up 7
3 blocks.
3 blocks. And so I feel like I've come home. And this used to be the source for the city of Tampa water, which is the water that my great-grandfather used to make our Spanish bean soup and black bean soups at the Columbia restaurant. So I was meant to come here.
Richard and his family leased the site from the city of Tampa and completely rebuilt the historic Waterworks building into what is now Ulele. There are 6 natural springs in the front of the building, and the springs, along with his family's history, led to the name of the restaurant.
The main spring is named Ulele after a Native American Indian princess. And the story says in 1528, she saved a young 17-year-old Spanish sailor, Juan Ortiz, from being burned by her father. And my children called my mother Lele. And she was a wonderful, compassionate, caring person. So I feel she was a reincarnation. So it was my mission to come out here and pay homage to the Native Americans that once called this area home.
The bronze sculpture of Princess Ulele is just one of the many works of art Richard has on display at the restaurant. There's also a Picasso, and here's a Dali. Richard's favorite pieces, though, are these 2 stained glass windows his mom and dad bought at an auction in 1972.
They're 1789 French sign pieces. And I asked, what are you going to do with that? He said, we're going to design a home around it. And 8 years later, they built a home, and so you could see it from both sides. And when I sold the home after my parents' passing, I was wondering where I was going to put it. So it's right here. They look down on me every day.
Wow, that's fantastic.
In another link to the past, Richard also built a brewery on the property. His brewmaster, Tim Shackton, is currently brewing 6 different beers that they serve at Ulele.
My great-grandfather, who immigrated from Cuba to Tampa, was the general manager of the Florida brewery that opened the Columbia Saloon, which is the Columbia restaurant, December 17, 1903. So we're just going around again.
Richard calls the menu at Ulele native-inspired, meaning a fusion of ingredients from Florida waters and land, including fresh local seafood and beef from locally raised Florida cattle. Executive Chef Emeril Lagasse and his team prepare the food in this amazing display kitchen that they have here.
This is really cool.
You know, I was on a trip in Montreal and I saw this kitchen. I said, what a cool looking setup.
Gorgeous.
And it got me going and seeing how could I do something different. It was a challenge, but it really works.
The chef and his team served up some of Richard's favorites for us to try.
That's our alligator hush puppies with venison and duck bacon. People like the idea of eating alligator, but they're really kind of concerned.
Alligator is very popular.
Well, it's very popular, and you know, they're being farmed, and everything we serve is, we practice sustainability. We won't serve anything that's in danger.
Well, that's good.
This is our Florida native chili, alligator, wild boar, venison, duck, Florida ground chuck.
You ain't fooling
Cranberry
around.
beans, which are also known as alligator beans.
Yeah. Holy smokes. That is good, my friend.
Good, I'm glad you like it.
Then Richard brought out one of my favorites, pompano from the Gulf of Mexico.
It's a fish that people don't know about when they visit Florida. Think of the grouper all the time. This
Exactly.
is my favorite fish as well. And
Yep.
it's the top selling item on our menu as far as fish is concerned.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you have the White River wild rice that's served with it.
That is so good.
Next, it was time for some Florida raised beef.
This is my favorite steak I've had anywhere in the world. I tell people, I said, you've got to try the New York strip. If you don't mind, I'm gonna grab a piece
Oh
myself.
my God.
Any opportunity I have to try this, I take it.
That is so good.
It's got a different flavor. I think this one has a great nuttiness.
Love it.
Great finish. And the mashed potatoes, the uniqueness with the popcorn
Oh,
inside.
delicious.
Richard had a dessert he wanted me to try, and I'm gonna let him explain this one.
Candy duck bacon maple fried ice cream.
It's a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister. We make all our ice cream, and when Chef talked to me about this, I said, what I couldn't even say it, but it's the #1 selling ice cream and the #1 dessert. You get the saltiness from the duck bacon. Most people have never tried duck bacon. It's just over the top again.
So awesome.
It's a good way to finish a meal.
You should be very proud, my friend.
Yeah, I know that we all are. So thanks for
for having
visiting
us.
us today.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Thanks for having us.